what you call, make the best opportunity of this online platform being provided by your university. So to start with, let me share the first topic, that is futures trading and eNAM. So whether it is available in slideshow mode, kindly, yes, okay. Friends, I think you might have come across these things in recent times. That is, there are farmer protests which are ruling the headlines consistently in the last 2 years, and their distress over the low farm prices, poor logistic for the transport, and the government issued purchases have been clearly evident. The Dalawai Committee report on doubling of farmers' income released last year provided a roadmap for transition from a near green revolution to an income revolution for the farmers. So a parliamentary panel report submitted in the Lok Sabha on January 3rd of this year underlines that the country is yet to solve the riddle of agriculture marketing, because there is no problem for nowadays with respect to the production technology. So the production technologies are already available, and country has itself translated from a begging bowl to even what you call the self-sufficient the country in terms of the food production. Nowadays, the non-availability is not causing the problem. In fact, it is the abundant availability which is creating the problem, and what you call leading to lot many number of problems, especially with respect to the agriculture marketing. The 6 important reasons which have been brought out why India has yet to find out a suitable means to address the different issues that the agriculture marketing is facing. First one is, they reported that 69 to 73% of the rice and wheat produced in 14 years was not procured by the FCI or the state agencies. You know, why do they procure these two major core cereals? That is, they are being distributed through fair price house for the needy people through the public distribution system. And also there is a shortage of APMC markets in the country. So regulated markets far off from the farmers. That is, if you look at the data, they need to be established within a radius of 5 to 10 kilometers. But if you take the highly developed states like even the Punjab, the radius or the distance of the farmers field from the market is not less than 100 kilometers. So that speaks about the scarcity of these regulated markets in the country, and also poor state of infrastructure in APMC markets, because most of them did not have even what you call the drying yard or the grading facilities, storage facilities to the expected level, and also poorly implemented regulations of this APMC Act. And lastly, at least one Gramina Hath must be present in each panchayat. Then only we can think of what you call addressing to some extent the issues being faced by the farmers in the marketing of their produce. So that is why before starting these two aspects, that is forward trading and the other measures which can help to mitigate the problems or the risk in agriculture marketing, let us throw some light on the basic concept. That is, you know, there is no business which is free from risk, isn't it? So there will be one or the other kind of the risks are being faced by any of the businesses, and more so in agriculture, because you know it's very basic characteristic features. Here we are dealing with the living things, and it depends upon varying degrees of agroclimatic conditions like rainfall, temperature, humidity, etc., etc. So risk is inherent with the ownership of the goods when it comes to the marketing. Hardy, the person, defined this risk as an uncertainty about the cost, loss, or the damage. And risk cannot be eliminated, but one or the other person needs to bear the risk. So there is a risk of reduction in the commodity by fire, destruction of the commodity by fire, floods, earthquake, etc. And also there will be a chance of a deterioration of the quality of the goods, or there will be fall in the price, or change in the taste, habits, fashion on part of the consumers for your product, and the risk of placing the commodity in the wrong hands or an area is what you call the another major thing that may threaten the efficiency of the marketing in the agricultural commodities. So these are the 6 major types of the risk, that is production or the yield risk, technological risk, quality risk, price or the market risk, institutional risk, and the financial risk. So you know each one of these in detail. There is production risk. We are not sure about what you call a definite quantity of the output or the yield from a given unit area, because it is being affected by too many number of uncontrollable forces which are influencing the performance of the farming. Then technology, nobody knows when the new technology comes out and soon become that the prevailing technology obsolete or outdated, isn't it? So next only to human mind, the next fastest changing thing on this earth is the technology. Even before completion of the first show of the movie, there will be pirated CDs are available on the street, isn't it? Like that, everywhere this technology is going to be changing at a faster rate, and consequently, what you call there could be what you call one or the other type of the risk associated with the technology faces the problem, faces the will be faced by the farmers in agriculture. Then quality risk. So we cannot assure, because this agriculture production is being undertaken by millions of small and marginal farmers, and they cannot exercise control over the different factors influencing their production. Hence, they cannot assure the uniform quality, and that may pose one or the other type of the problem in the process of marketing. Then price and the or the market risk, because the different types of the market situations, and agriculture is considered to be nearly a perfect competitive market, and everybody is aware that the different characteristic features of a market, to call it as a perfect competitive market, there should be there will be a large number of buyers and sellers, homogeneity of the product, free entry and exit, like that, isn't it? So no individual farmer can influence the prevailing prices in the market for the given commodity. He should, or he will be acting as simply what you call the price taker. He cannot dictate the prices. Then comes the institutional risk. That means, when we take up the different approaches to study the agriculture marketing, among different approaches like commodity approach, functional approach, institutional approach is one of the approach that can be used to study the prevailing market situations. So here, one or the other way, there will be one or the other marketing institutions or the organization or the rules and regulations or the acts are going to affect the decisions with respect to the marketing of the farm produce. So that is the fifth type of the risk that is being faced by the farmers who are participating in the agriculture marketing. And lastly, the financial risk. Nobody is assured of what you call the sufficient quantity of the finance at the right time in an affordable rate of interest. So these are the different types of the risk that are being faced by the farmer. Hence, what could be the measures that can be, because one or the other agency needs to bear that risk. It cannot be eliminated. So hence, agencies involved in the marketing continuously try to minimize the risk, as it cannot be eliminated, because it also carries the profit. Risk and returns, they are directly related. More the readiness on part of the entrepreneur to take greater risk, higher will be the expected profit, isn't it? That is an expectation. But who don't want to take any risk, they need to complacent with, or they need to satisfy with the lower quantum of the profitability of that particular from that particular enterprise or the business. So risk and returns, they are directly related. So an agency which do not carry risk hardly earns the profit. So there are different measures one can think of to reduce these just now discussed risk in the agriculture marketing. First one is reduction in the physical losses. So this can be achieved through what you call the following different the developments that have taken place with respect to the agriculture marketing, like using of the fire storage, use of proper packaging material, proper handling and transportation infrastructure. Then also we can think of using the improved storage structures, like and also pre-storage treatment to avoid the loss in the marketing and quantity, as well as which can arise out of the moisture, temperature, what you call the variations, and also attack of the pest, fungus, rodents during the storage. So this can be what you call taken care so as to reduce the physical loss. Then secondly, this risk can be transferred to the insurance companies. So these what you call the insurance companies are the specialized professional agencies which are ready to bear the such kind of the risk. So they collect some premium and provide all compensation to the party in case if they are going to incur loss due to reasons for which the products have been insured. So nowadays you can see the insurance during transportation, the insurance during storage, like that. At every stage of the marketing, you can go for insuring your product. Then the third category of the measures that can be taken to minimize the risks that are being faced by the farmers, they include, or they can be by way of what you call these minimum supply prices and the maximum price by the government. They can sometimes fix, but nowadays everything is left to the what you call the operation of the market demand and supply forces, which is going to be automatically determined determine the price for any particular commodity, but still that minimum support price scheme is being implemented in our country. You know how it is being determined, who are going to advise to the government of India, and when they are going to announce these prices. So that is CACP, that is Commission on Agriculture Cost and Prices, is going to collect the information, and MPKV is also having that center for the estimation of the cost from the major commodities being grown in the state. So they are going to collect every year continuously from the same farmers for 3 years, and then they are going to change the blocks, and they are reporting to the government of India, and in turn government of India is going to announce the minimum support prices just before the sowing season. 2 times, once before Kharif season and once before Rabi season, so that farmers can plan accordingly the allocation of the area for different crops what they can grow on their fields. Then second one is accurate price information over space and time. That speaks about one of the important marketing function, that is MIS, Market Information Service, which is consisting of market intelligence and market news, isn't it? So when they have been provided with in time, comprehensively, in an what you call easily acceptable and readable manner, being published in the local languages, definitely it could help the farmers to plan their to have the proper marketing plan about their produce. Because you know that paradox of plenty in agriculture, during the years of good harvest, farmers are in fact, instead of realizing the higher returns, they are going to realize the less returns because of what you call that operation of the paradox of plenty. Since these food grains being the necessities of life and possessing that inelastic nature of demand, so prices are going to crash down, because just because of the fall in the price, one cannot think of consuming more, and when prices rise, we cannot proportionately reduce the consumption of these commodities. Hence, more or less, what you call the adjustment, or what you call the moment of the changes in the prices of the agriculture commodities are not in proportion to the changes in the what you call the supply as well as the demand portion in the market. Then next one is effective system of advertising to reduce the price uncertainty and create favorable atmosphere for the commodity can be also thought of as an important measure to minimize the risk. And lastly, the operation of speculation and hedging, which forms the what you call the subject for today's discussion. Just before going to that FMC, that is Forward Market Commission, and its role and the different commodity exchanges, let us understand these two concepts, that is speculation and hedging. So speculation and hedging, they are the two important ways of minimizing the price risk in the business. In the farmer, that is speculation, risk is taken by the person specializing in the business without much consideration of the business trends. While in the second, that person who is hedging or hedger, he will be taking that calculated risk. So the fundamental idea underlying the speculation is the purchase or the sale of a commodity at a present price with an objective of selling it or purchasing at some future date at a favorable price to him. So the speculator is normally concerned with the profit making from the price movements that are taking place with which he is dealing in the market. So he purchases when the prices are low, and he is therefore not a regular trader. The differences in the prices prevailing at 2 times constitutes or makes up his profit margin, and speculator may also incur loss sometimes, because when the things are not happen according to his expectation, because there are many factors which are going to determine what you call the price movement in the economy. The essentials of speculators includes he enters the trade at current price, this prevailing price, and the transactions of the speculators are completed on some future date. And the speculators enter the trade with the sole objective of making profit from the price movement, and sometimes they also, as I mentioned, resort to what you call that unwanted, unscrupulous marketing practices of creating artificial scarcity known as this hoarding. So hoarding is nothing but, it is a creation of artificial scarcity, even though they are having, but that they are not disclosing the stock. Then, except in few cases, the physical delivery of the produce is neither taken nor given. So only the difference in the prices will be taken or paid. And speculators are not regular buyers and sellers in the market, as I already told, and they do not conduct any regular business apart from this, what you call the speculative business. Then there are two types of speculation based upon the legalities, legal issues involved. Speculation may be of two types. There is a speculation proper and the illegitimate speculation. So the speculation proper refers to the speculation on part of the person who makes it as a profession, his profession. So such professional speculators devote their whole time and energy to the collection of the information about the future course of price movements, and the decisions of the speculators, they are not hunch decisions, they are somewhat based upon some calculations. So these intelligence or these are the intelligent forecasts based upon the predicted trends about the prices for that commodity, and this type of speculation is beneficial for the economy as a whole and is usually accepted by the society. That is speculation proper. Whereas that illegitimate speculation, the other type, is a gamble in the business. So the speculators adopt such manipulative practices as to create conditions of artificial scarcity in the market and lead to a price rise. So the main aim of the speculator is to earn a big profit. So this type of speculation is not based on any rationale, though it influences the process of products. That is, the prices of the products are being influenced by this what we call the operations of this speculation. Such speculation is prohibited by the government in the best interest of the economy. So, however, it carries certain benefits who can enjoy or realize certain benefits from this activity of the speculators. First one is, it is going to dampen the price fluctuations. That means it is going to minimize what you call the too much ups and downs in the prices. And the price differences in the different markets are going to be bridged to some extent because of the operation of the or the presence of these speculators in the market. And the speculation helps in the adjustment of the commodities supply and demand at the normal price. So sooner or later, too much fluctuations, either high or the low, are going to march towards what you call that equilibrium price in the market. Then these are the few terms which can help you to understand better the next concepts, that is spot market, future transactions, bulls, bears, contract, etc. So to start with that spot or that cash transactions, you know, during your undergraduate degree only, a transaction in which the payment is made on the spot or within a prescribed short period, and delivery is taken on the same day or within a specified time period agreed between those two. It is known as the spot or the cash transaction. So three things are essential in the cash transaction: that the purchaser has to take the delivery of the produce immediately after the sale, and the seller has to deliver the goods immediately, and the payment for the produce has to be made immediately after the transaction. Whereas in the case of future transactions, this is a transaction in which the prices of the commodities are settled in cash, but the commodities are delivered on some future date as agreed between them. So generally, in future transactions, the loss or the profit is paid or received, and always need not be the commodities are going to be expired, but they should take place before the expiry of the time of their agreement. In future transaction, there will be two groups of persons involved, that is bulls and bears. The person who expect the prices will go up in future, they are called as bulls. But those who are always conservative in their approach and are expecting the prices will go down in future, they are called as the bears. So the future transaction takes place as a result of action on part of these two group of persons. Then coming to one more concept, that is contract. A contract is a promise to deliver or accept a delivery of a specific grade of a commodity at a specified time in the future. Then coming to the first, hedging. So hedging is a trading technique, as I mentioned, speculation and hedging. They are the tools being used by the persons who are participating in the futures trading. It is a trading technique of transferring the price risk. So it is going to protect the trader from extreme crash in the prices. According to Shepherd, he defined hedging is the process of executing the opposite sales or purchases in the futures markets to offset the purchase or sale of the physical products made in the spot market or the cash market. While Hoffman defined it as it is the practice of buying or selling futures to offset equal and opposite position in the cash market, and thus they are going to avoid that possible risk of uncertain changes in the prices. So they are going to protect themselves from what you call too much ups and downs in the price movement. Thus, hedging refers to purchase or sale of a commodity in the futures market accompanied by sale or purchase opposite in the cash market. So in this approach, each sale is entered into with an equivalent purchase of the commodity. It is assumed that the prices in two markets move exactly parallel, and that losses arising in one market are going to be compensated or offset by the profit in the another market. So hedging is based upon two assumptions, that is the futures and cash commodity prices move up and down together, that is basis of prices changes remains unchanged, and the mechanics of this hedging includes making of simultaneous transactions but of opposite direction in futures market and cash market. Coming to the benefits of this hedging, it is going to protect the hedger from sustaining the loss and enables him to earn some normal profit. Then hedging enables him to keep the trade margins at a lower level because there is no risk, not much risk, but risk will be there. And it is going to facilitate the financing of inventories of the stored commodities to maximum possible extent, because he can pledge that receipt being issued by any warehouseman and pledge it, and he can obtain the financial assistance from the banks or any other financial institutions. So these are the few differences that you already know with respect to speculation and hedging. First one is purchase and sale in cash as well as in futures markets are made with the sole objective of making profit under speculation, because that is the major profit, major motive behind the speculation. Whereas the purchase and sale in the cash and futures markets are made to protect one against the excessive price fluctuations in the case of hedging. The activities of buying and selling are not necessarily opposed to each other, but in hedging, they are exactly opposite always. And in speculation, it is not necessary that the two types of the transaction should be equal quantity, but it is obligatory to have the same volume of the commodities. And under speculation, the speculator purchases goods and sells them when price rise as per his expectation. Whereas the commodities are not stored by the trader, only the differences in the prices is given or taken on some due date. Coming to futures trading. So futures trading is a device for protection against the price fluctuations, which I have already made it clear, which normally arise in the course of marketing of the commodities, as nobody can influence individually the price level. So the stockist, processors, manufacturers utilize the future contracts to transfer the price risk that is being faced by them in the process of marketing. So futures trading in various groups of commodities was gained in late 19th century. First in cotton, future trading was started in Bombay. Then the European took a hand in founding that Bombay Cotton Traders Association in 1875 for the regulation of the cotton trade, because they want to feed that raw material in their country, which was the first step in the evolution of an organized futures market in our country. The futures markets were established for oil seeds, that too in Mumbai during 1900, raw jute and jute goods at Calcutta during 1912, and wheat at Afur in 1913, for bullions in Mumbai during 1920, and subsequently at other places. It is mainly, that is futures trading is mainly to provide the protection against the unhealthy speculation. Forward trading in agriculture commodities was regulated under the Forward Contracts Regulation Act of 1952. Mainly with an view to regulate the forward contracts, prohibiting the options in goods and dealing with the certain other related matters. So APMC was consequently established under the provisions of this Forward Contracts Regulation Act of 1952. Then before going to the activities of that APMC and the organizational structure, let us look at the characteristic features which are necessary for any commodity to make it tradable on futures trading. So the commodity is permissible under futures trading must satisfy these what you call the characters. First one is it should be available in plentiful supply, because no single can corner the the large supply, and the commodity must be having minimum degree of perishability. That means too much or highly perishable commodities are not being traded because they cannot be stored for a longer period. And the commodities should be homogeneous. That means at least they should be subjected for what you call some standardization grading process, and capable of being graded so that it is that is the future deliveries may be made without problems regarding the quality. So when at the time of listing, it may be of high quality, but as the time progresses, if it get deteriorated during the storage process, if proper care is not being taken, subject it for some preliminary processing like drying, cleaning, etc., etc. And the next character is the commodity should be having a large demand from a number of independent consumers, so that no single buyer may not be in a position to impose his terms for his purchase. And the supply of the commodity should not be controlled by few large firms. It should be available with large number of suppliers. And also the price of the commodity, most important, should be liable for fluctuations over a wide range. If relatively the prices are stable, not much gains. Or the very purpose of starting them is to achieve that stability. Such commodities which are not being subjected for too much fluctuations are not so much suitable for trading futures market. And there should be free flow of the commodity to and from the market without any outside intervention or the interference or the control. Then coming to Forward Market Commission, at present, Mr. Ravi Anna Varappu is the new president of FMC since July 1st of 2021. And this FMC, Forward Market Commission, was established under the Section 3 of the Forward Contracts Regulation Act of 1952. These are the important functions. That is mainly to advise the government in respect of recognition and withdrawal of the associations who are conducting the forward trading, and to keep forward markets under observation, and also to draw the attention of the government to various developments that are taking place in different forward markets with suitable recommendations. And also it involves in collection and publication of the information as regarding the trading conditions in respect of markets falling under its jurisdiction, and to submit periodical reports to the government on the operation of the act and on working of the forward markets in the country. And lastly, to inspect the accounts of the recognized association generally with a view to improve the organization and working of the forward markets. However, this FMC has been merged with SEBI with effect from September 28, 2015. Then, before going into further detail, let us understand these two terms, that is forward and futures. So forward and futures contracts, they are the derivatives arrangements that involve two parties who agree to buy or sell a specific asset at a set price by a certain date in future. So buyers and sellers can mitigate the risk associated with the price movement down the road by locking in the purchase or sale price in advance. So here first, the forward contract is an arrangement that is made over the counter and settles just once at the end of the contract. Here, both the parties involved in the agreement negotiate the exact terms of contract, and it is privately negotiated and comes with a degree of default risk, since the counterparty is responsible for remitting the payment. That is how purchased it. While in the futures contract, on the other hand, these are the standardized contracts that trade on stock exchanges. As such, they are settled on a daily basis. And these arrangements come with fixed maturity dates and uniform terms. So there is very little risk with the futures, as they guarantee payment on the agreed upon date when compared to the forward contract. These are the, I'm going to now onwards discuss about the economic functions of this futures market. First one is, they are going to help us to determine the price, discover the price. That is, price discovery is the first economic function being performed by this futures market, because here the price discovery takes place in the spot markets also, but it is for the present only. And this is also inefficient and localized. Hence, the price discovery in the markets, futures market, it is considered to be more efficient and takes place at the national level and available for future months too. Whereas in the spot market, the price that is being discovered is for that present context only. The second economic function of this futures market is price risk management, or what you call through this process of hedging. So futures markets provide facilities to companies to protect themselves against the adverse movement of the prices of raw materials or the products, and even the exporters, they are going to hedge against an increase in the price of their inputs at that time of meeting export commitments. And also the stockists, they can go for hedging the value of their inventory against the price decline. And also the processors, who are the handling commodity in large quantity, they are going to hedge against an increase in the price of the raw material. And also from the viewpoint of the farmers, they are going to protect against the adverse movement in the price of their produce when they are going to participate in the futures market. So the second function, economic function of this futures market after that price discovery is the price risk management. Then the other benefits consisting of 4 types, that is price stabilization, auto regulation of consumption and storage in the economy, financing of the marketing operations, as well as value addition to the farmers. So we'll take up these, what you call the other benefits of this futures trading one by one. Price stabilization. So if the prices in the futures or the futures prices, if they are higher than the spot prices, then selling in futures and buying in the spot, because they are going to be cheaper. If the future prices are lower than the spot prices, then they are going to buy in the futures and sell in the spot market. So both the prices reduce what you call the gap between the spot and future. So therefore, gap between prices in season and off season are going to be reduced because of the what you call the operation of this futures market. Then auto regulation of the consumption and storage. So here the high price movements indicate less availability of the commodity in future. That means people are what you call the running behind those commodities which they feel they may face the shortage in the future. So therefore, tendency to consume less and store for the future more. And low prices indicate more availability of the commodity in future. Therefore, there will be tendency to consume more at present and store less. So this process avoids definitely over or under consumption and unnecessary hoarding of the commodity. So hence, there would be an auto regulation of the consumption and storage functions in the marketing because of the futures market. Then there is also the possibility of financing of the marketing operations. Here, the credit needs of the primary producers are very high, and they may be having that lot of difficulty in accessing the credit. So it is very tough for them. So farmers are forced to sell in the spot because of the immediate need of the money. Sorry. So friends, you might be aware the special characteristic features of these agriculture commodities and the distinctive features of this agriculture commodity markets as against the industrial commodities. So there will be heavy village sales, forcible sales, too much involvement of the middle money, bulkiness, perishable nature, etc., etc. And also, because of the pressing cash needs, the farmers are going to adopt that what you call that the forcible sales immediately after the harvest because of again the lack of storage facility on their farm. And also, if waits for higher prices, then has to take finance on the basis of the warehouse receipt, because you know nowadays to prevent that immediate harvest sales, the financial institutions are extending that facility of warehouse pledging. By pledging the warehouse receipt, the farmers can get up to 70 to 80% of the value of the goods stored as a loan. And also, future contracts may provide better security to the bank because they are also assured to that extent the recovery of the loan. Then the fourth other economic functions of the futures market is value addition to the farmer. So farmers go for sale of ungraded produce, isn't it? But here the emphasis on grading in futures market, increasing awareness about the grading. That is, it is going to create on part of the farmers to go for or subject their produce for grading based upon the well laid down standards for different commodities. And also grading may increase the overall realization because the produce with the higher grade will definitely fetch a better prices. So some share of this value addition definitely can be passed on back to the farmers. Thus, this futures trading is going to add value to the farmers. Then, if you look at the trends in this futures trading, you can what you call the visualize an exponential growth. There are 22 recognized exchanges and 4 national level exchanges like MCX, NCDX, NMCE, and ICX, and 18 regional exchanges are functioning in our country. And the futures trading presently conducted over for 100 commodities, and volume and value of the trading is increasing at a very high rate. So these commodities are being traded at present on this futures market, that is metals, gold, silver, copper, zinc, food grains like grams, pulses, maize, and energy items like crude oil, natural gas, and the spices like turmeric, pepper. You can see here, these are the less perishable commodities, and also edible oil seeds, complexes like groundnut, mustard seed, cotton seed, sunflower, rice bran, soybean, and fibers like cotton jute and castor seed and gur are the other commodities being traded on this exchanges. So here you can see just a hypothetical diagram to explain you the market price and the price received. Here the producer selling on a spot basis are fully exposed to what you call this frequent ups and downs in the prices. Okay. But however, using forwards, producers give up all the exposure to the beneficial price movements in order to protect against adverse price developments. So this is a very inefficient means of hedging one's price exposure. So here this orange line indicates spot sales and in futures, because they are having that fixed price. To demonstrate it much meaningful way, here again using those two lines, that is orange colored lines for the spot sales and the futures forward sales with this yellow line. Here in this, what you call the, when the spot prices are increasing, here the forward sales protect the producer from falling prices but remove exposure to the beneficial price of the development. Whereas here, when the prices are prevailing in the spot market lower than this forward market prices, then this is the condition of that adverse price development. So spot sales leave producers fully exposed to price variations, good or bad. Okay, so this is in brief about this futures and the forward markets. Now let us move on to that one more development that has taken place in recent time, that is eNAM. So let me complete all the things and keep some time for what you call the discussion, so that if you are having any queries, I am ready to take. If I know it at present, I will answer. Otherwise, I can send you what you call my answer for your doubts later. Okay. So there is a quote by Philip Kotler. That is, marketing is not the art of finding clever ways to dispose what you make, but it is the art of creating genuine customer value, isn't it? So before starting of this eNAM, everybody is aware India is the agrarian country. Still 50% with 70 years of its independence depends on agriculture for their direct livelihood. And over the years, we have improved our agriculture production by adoption of what we call the new technology. But what farmers have gained in the process of marketing by adopting the new technologies are being lost in the process of marketing because of the imperfections. But finding a market for the marketed surplus, because it is not important to create the marketing facility for the total production, it is sufficient if we create it for only the marketed surplus. But even to handle that marketed surplus, country is facing a lot of what you call the problems. The reasons are quite obvious that we have already discussed. And getting fair prices have always been a major challenge for the farm commodities. So this clearly point out the need for an efficient marketing system for the farm commodities. So government has taken up numerous measures, starting with that establishing the regulated markets, cooperative marketing, direct marketing like Raitu Bazaar, Raita Sante, or contract farming, etc., etc. So, but still, what you call, as we saw those 6 points from the Dalawai Committee on doublings of farmers' income, many of the farmers, they are what you call agitating against the government because of the non-remunerative prices and also the recent amendments that have been made for the farm laws. So for a long time, the traditional marketing system characterized by those high volume of village sales and post-harvest immediate sale by the farmers is in existence. So the post-independence period in the 60s and 70s, at that point of time, most of the states enacted this APMR Acts, because agriculture being the state subject. So that is Agriculture Produce Market Regulation Act. And it authorized the state to set up and regulate the marketing process in the wholesale markets. The objective was to ensure the farmers can get a fair price for their produce. Coming to this APMR Act, so it has been enacted by various state governments primarily to provide farmers an access to the market while preventing their exploitation in terms of lower price or improper payment or unjustified quality rejection or unauthorized deductions or what you call too much time to settle the sale proceeds back to the farmers, and also recovering high commission from these producers sellers. The different objectives that have been assigned to these regulated markets includes to provide the remunerative prices, the first and the foremost important objective of passing of these APMR acts, which act as an incentive for the farmers to increase their production. Second one is to improve the infrastructural facilities so that this marketing machine can discharge the what we call the expected function from each of these market functionaries and assure higher producer share in the consumer rupee, as well as the consumers can get at an affordable price. So these two are the often contradicting things. Farmers always want higher prices, whereas the consumer want them at lower prices. In between, as farmers cannot perform all the marketing functions, they do require the assistance or the involvement of the marketing middlemen like processors, storage agency, transport agency, and they also want certain profit margin. So there comes what you call the role of the government to fulfill often the contradicting objective of all these what you call the stakeholders in the process of marketing. So this marketing, agriculture marketing, is nothing but it is the movement of the commodity from the farm gate to consumer plate, isn't it? So the another objective that has been set for the regulated markets is to increase the marketing efficiency through reduction in the marketing charges. So these marketing charges are margin inputs, both the marketing cost as well as the profit margin of the all the intermediaries, and also ensuring, as I just mentioned, consumers should get agriculture produce at the reasonable price because it being the basic necessity of life. So there are more than 7,520, in fact 7521 regulated markets are functioning in India, and Maharashtra, sorry for the spell mistake, had the highest number of regulated markets in the country. And here you can see the total number of wholesale and primary wholesale markets, 28,000, and the principal markets 2,485, and the sub-market yards 5,038, and 7,521 total regulated markets in India, of which 881 are situated in Maharashtra state itself. And there are more than 3,500 unregulated markets are functioning in your state, and so there's a mistake with respect to that all India. And farmers will get 8 to 10% higher price, estimated by Jairat, in the consumer price by selling their produce in the regulated market. So here it is going to take place the transaction between the buyer and seller in the regulated market. The positive impacts of this APMR Act can be seen like this. The Act brought fair trading and responsibility that devolve on the licensed trader and commission agents on the market committee, because the persons who are not having the trade license, they are not permitted to trade in the regulated market. And market fee are clearly defined and specified, and they have to get their license renewed by paying those prescribed fees. And market practices are regulated by the committee, and undesirable activities of the market functionaries are brought under control. Whereas the negative impact of these APMCs, markets are highly fragmented. They have been market yard, market sub-yard, sub-market yard, like that. And also they are not sufficient in terms of their number so as to cover what you call the many number of the farmers. And also they have been not succeeded in creating what you call the better infrastructure facilities and amenities. So there exist the poor infrastructural facilities and amenities to the farmers. And also restrictions in the licensing. They have to fulfill certain criteria to get the license. So to some extent, it is going to create what you call or reduce the competition among the buyers. And also there is considerable wastage of the time of the farmers in waiting for their turn during the auction or the payment of the produce, because the numbers are very less, the regulated market numbers. And also there is excessive focus on the creation of the physical infrastructure and collection of the market fee, and not on creating what you call the other things. what you call the efficiency of the marketing system, and also the heavy loss of the quantity of the produce during the operations such as loading, unloading, because of the improper handling. And also the market information is regarded as asymmetric and not so what you call comprehensive and up to date, and the less remunerative to the farmers and high intermediation cost because of the too much involvement of the middlemen. So these are the negative effects of the APMC Act. Then, hence, the model APMC Act was passed during the year 2003. Its salient features, as all of you know, just I'm helping you to recall your memory. The state is divided into several market areas, each administered by the separate APMC, which impose its own marketing regulation, including fees. And also, legal persons, growers, and local authorities are permitted to apply for the establishment of new markets for the agriculture produce in any area. And no compulsion on part of the growers to sell their produce to existing markets administered by APMC. They are free to sell. And also, separate provision is made for notification of the special markets in any market area for specified agriculture commodities. It is left to that committee. And also, provision for contract farming, allowing direct sale of the produce to contract farming sponsor from the farmer's field. And single point levy of the market fee on the sale of the notified agricultural commodities in any market area. And provision is made for what you call resolving the disputes that was also there earlier, but much more emphasis has been given for any kind of the issues that may come across in between the farmer and the purchasers. And it provides for the creation of the infrastructure from the revenue earned by the APMC out of the market fee collected strictly by the purchaser, but still the what you call it is known fact that these traders are also collecting fees from the farmer sellers. And this act provided for the private investment in the regulated markets. However, this act is also being abused on certain grounds that not enough for setting the common agriculture market even at the state level. Still more provisions needs to be plugged in to the act, and the buyers have to pay APMC charges even when the produce is sold directly outside the APMC area, either under the contract farming, it is not framing, contract farming, or the private market set up by the individuals. And in some states, minimum limit of the setting up of private market was too high, say 10 crores, and this act as a barrier for small farmers to come together and farm their own market. And many states have not amended their APMC Act in line of the model APMC Act of 2003, and even some states adopted this act in partial manner only. So, again, during 2017, that APLM Act, that is Agriculture Produce and Livestock Marketing Act, was passed during 2017. This model APLM Act, Promotion and Facilitation Act, was presented in April 2017 and seeks to replace the earlier APMC Act of 2003. The main purpose to create a single was to create a single agriculture market with a single license, wherein agriculture produce as well as livestock produce could be traded, both agriculture as well as livestock. The important features of this act include abolition of fragmentation of the markets and recognition of the state and UT as a single market, and promote direct interface between farmers and end user, that may be the processor, exporter, or the bulk buyers, and enhancement of the transparency in the transactions, and also provision of single point levy of the market fee and unified single trading license across the state and in a territory to realize cost-effective transactions in the regulated markets. And even private market yards or the warehouses and cold storage will be allowed to act as a regulated markets. And lastly, it has the provision for promoting online or the spot, or what you call that eNAM. We're going to pay about 10-15 minutes towards this concept later. There is a provision for promoting online or the spot agriculture market platform for the farm produce. So now moving on to this eNAM. So eNAM, it is an electronic national agricultural market. eNAM is a pan-India electronic trading portal which networks the existing APMC mandis to create a unified national market for the agriculture commodities. So here we can see already it is in the what you call the celebrating its 5 years of implementation from here, and even 2 years before, on 4th of May 2020, 1 crore worth of what you call the trade value on eNAM or online platform. So this eNAM was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister during April 2016 as a single window service for the farmers to trade their commodities. The willing states are required to enact the suitable provisions in their existing APMC Acts for promotion of this e-trading by the State Agriculture Marketing Board or the APMCs. And the virtual market platform linking the existing physical mandis, that is APMCs, electronically with the theme of One Nation, One Market as eNAM market. So here the important objectives you can visualize from this. Here it mainly intended to harmonize the quality standards of the agricultural produce and provision for assaying, quality testing, infrastructure in every market, because we have saw that most of the regulated markets, they don't have enough what you call the infrastructure facilities like cold storage, grading facilities, etc. So that was the first and the foremost important objective. Then single point levy of the market fees, that is multiple steps charges can be avoided. And also there is a provision of soil testing laboratories in or near the selected mandis, so that farmers can go for taking benefit of this testing their farm in terms of the presence of different nutrients. Accordingly they can apply the needed nutrients and realize the better productivity from their farms. And also one license for a trader valid across all the markets in the states. He need not go for taking license from each and every regulated market operating in the state. So one license can be taken or holds good for all the markets, regulated markets in the state. And liberal licensing of the traders are the buyers and the commission agents when compared to the earlier provisions under earlier act. And also a national e-market platform for the transparent sale transactions and price discovery initially in the regulated markets. Then you can imagine nation as a one market and single price for a commodity of a given grade throughout the country. Okay, so these are the features of this eNAM. As I told, assaying, that is quality testing, then payment and integration, then the mobile app of this eNAM, and also online payment facility and online trading. Coming to the performance, as I already told, it was launched on 14th of April 2016, covering 8 states and 21 markets, and by 2017 March covered 13 states and 455 markets, and by March 2018 covered 16 states and 2 UTs and 585 markets. So this map summarizes you what you call the number of markets in being covered in different states of the country. So by April 2020, 18 states, 3 UTs, and 1,000 markets have been what you call connected with this eNAM. Okay, so this current status might be a bit what you call appears to be old, but it is the latest what I got from this eNAM website. Status of this eNAM. So the number of markets which have been linked, and the schematic representation of this eNAM here. Just sorry. So at the top we are having the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, then Department of Agriculture Cooperation and Farmers Welfare, that is DAC and FW, and the supporting organization will be our DMI and the NIC. And then lead implementing agency is the SFAC, that is Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium, and the strategic partner is NFCL, that is Nagarjuna Fertilizers and Chemicals Limited, and the state government or the State Agriculture Marketing Board of the respective states, they are going to implement it, and there will be district administration or the APMC or the rural market committees are going to administer this eNAM. Coming to the funds allocation, the Cabinet Committee on the Economic Affairs had approved a central sector scheme for promotion of this national agricultural market through Agri-Tech Infrastructure Fund, that is ATIF. And this gives us the details about the different stakeholders, 21 states, and more than 1.5 lakh traders are participating, more than 87,000 commission agents, and FPOs almost 2,000 FUOs are participating, and more than 1.6 or almost 1.7 crores of farmers have participated in this what you call the eNAM, and total stakeholders constitutes to 1.71 crores. So categories of commodities traded on this eNAM, totally I think 175. I will give you later that figure. So which consisting of 26 food grains, 14 oil seeds, 31 fruits, 50 vegetables, 16 spices, and other 38 miscellaneous commodities are being traded. Just I will take you to that eNAM website only so that you can visualize the commodities traded market wise, the quantity and the values on a given date. For a given date range, you can visualize it. So till 30th, it is a little bit old because I have prepared it for some other purpose, but you can live reports you can see just now. I will project it for your benefit. So this is the process flow, wherein at the entry, farmer registration will be there, and the lot will be generated in that gate entry. Then it will be sampling and assaying, subjected for sampling and assaying. Then online trading is going to take place. Here they are going to manage the bids and they are going to carry out that auction. Then after that, the weighment and the invoicing. So in the weigh bridge and the weighing scale of the sale agreement is going to take place, and there will be online payment through channel or the internet banking or RTGS or the NEFT facility will be there, and then gate exit after that. Person who has purchased it, they can that relates to that post trade activities or the process, and the goods returns or the permit. So it has been taken from that eNAM process. Okay. Then the advantage of this this eNAM for the different stakeholders, it is going to benefit each and every stakeholder, starting with the farmers, traders, buyers and processors, bulk buyers and the exporters, including consumers and the mandis to manage well, because it is going to reduce that transaction cost in the process of what you call adopting this eNAM. Why eNAM? So here, as I mentioned, the lot generation. So registration of the farmers is done at the entry of the gate and mandi, if not done earlier. And a lot number is going to be generated that we saw in that flow chart earlier in the previous slide. And the quality is going to be assayed. Here the sample from the each lot is collected and tested for the quality as per the quality parameters prescribed by the eNAM in a lab at the mandi, which is then recorded and uploaded on the eNAM portal against the lot number which has been allotted. Then it is being subjected for that e-auction. A bid is created by the mandi officials through eNAM portal for a specified time slot. Then the registered traders bid for a particular commodity through their login IDs, as they will be provided with those IDs. Then the trader transfers the amount to the escrow account of eNAM along with the commission and mandi fee, either online or offline, and the farmer get the direct transfer to their account. So this is the process. So why the eNAM is preferred? It is going to avoid all the possible kind of what you call the deceiving practices by the persons. So better quality, higher the price. So they are going to get most remunerative and the price as per the quality of the produce. So this is in detail about the quantity of the different commodities being traded. So it has been drawn from that eNAM report 2020, but as such for the much recent, whatever the updated information, unable to get it, but you can refer it. Also go to that eNAM website, but I tried yesterday to update it, but unable to get the data. You can try for it for this, what you call the 6 major categories of the commodities being graded. Totally 175 commodities are traded. Traded from that 1.69 crores of farmers. Then this is the value of those 6 corresponding commodities, and figures in the parentheses indicate percentage to the total, and also percentage change when compared to the previous year. You can visualize. Then coming to some additional new features which have been incorporated in this eNAM platform, the Union Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, RD and Panchayat Raj, Sri Narendra Singh Thomer, launched new features of this eNAM. platform on 2nd April 2020. This includes the software models, that is warehouse-based trading model and the FUO trading model. And also launch of this ENWRS, that is negotiable warehouse receipt model in the eNAM software. So here this warehouse that is registered with the WDRA trading model with the payment feature is launched to enable the small marginal farmers to directly trade their stored produce from the selected warehouse development and the regulatory authority registered warehouses, which are declared deemed market by the state. Okay, that means even with their produce in the warehouses, they can participate in the trade. And farmers will be able to place their produce in WDRA accredited warehouses. And already states of Telangana, 14 warehouses, and Andhra Pradesh, 23 warehouses, declared designated warehouses in the state as a deemed market. The benefits of this ENWRS integration with the eNAM includes depositor can save the logistic expenses and will have better income because they need to take the produce to the market from that warehouse, and again, if they won't get satisfied, again take it back. So in the process, they are going to incur additional expenditure. So hence here they can save the logistic expenses, and farmers can sell the produce across the nation to get better price, and at the same time can save himself from the hassles that he is going to face in the mandis. And the farmers will also be able to place their produce in WDRA accredited warehouses and avail the benefit of pledge loan if it is required. And definitely there would be a stable price or the price stabilization by matching supply and the demand through time and place utility is possible in this what you call the eNAM with this eNAM ENW or changes that have been effected by the farmer. Then FUO trading model, the other module. So here FUO, that is farmer producer organization, which is also nowadays taken on the greater scale in many states, mainly to improve the bargaining power on part of the farmers, both while sourcing the inputs as well as by what you call the marketing their the produce, and they can minimize the number of middlemen and enjoy greater share in the consumers' rupee. So FUO trading model is launched to enable the FUOs to upload their produce from their premise or the collection centers for bidding. No need to bring it to the marketplace. They can upload the pictures of the produce and quality parameters from their premises to help the distant bidders to visualize the produce before bidding, because nobody can blindly quote the prices. They have to inspect the produce, isn't it? So to facilitate that inspection, they can upload their photos. And also, FUOs have an option for delivery of the produce either from their premises or by bringing to mandi premise after successful bidding or settlement of the transaction. So this will not only decongest the mandis, but also reduce the logistic cost for the FUOs, isn't it? So they can save the transportation cost and also avoid that glut or too much rush in the mandis. And facility is provided to FUO to upload assaying report or photo of their produce from their premise to enable the traders to visualize the produce before their bid. Benefits. So from this FUO trading model, whatever the changes, this will not only decongest the mandis but also reduce the hassle of FUOs to deal with the mandis. And this will help the FUOs by reducing the transaction cost, that is mainly the transportation. And facilitates FUOs to avail online payment facility with the ease of doing business. So I will give you one or two case studies about this. Let us look at first one, that is Duggirala, a village in the Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh, joined this eNAM platform in May 2017. It was one of the 10 mandis in AP to join eNAM in the program's second phase. And the mandi had been using this online platform of NEML, NCDX E-Market Limited till then. Before that also it had that what you call the experience of online trading. And at Duggirala APMC, 60% of the payment is made online. And the mandi has been able to achieve this feat in short span of time as it does not employ commission agent. And the APMC has account details of all the traders, 91 who are registered with it, and farmers of more than 12,000 in the eNAM server now. And the assaying lab at the mandi was established on 1st May 2018 on an average 50 to 60% of the lots that arrive any day or asset at the mandi. So much is the what you call the speed with which they are assaying the produce. Since May 2018, over 2,000 lots of turmeric have been assayed at the mandi, and Dugirala APMC has set an example for other mandis in the state as well as those across the country with its quick acceptance of the online platform and the payment. And another one is GFPCL at Modasa in Gujarat helps the farmers realize higher price through this eNAM. As I mentioned, regulated markets helps to fetch 8 to 10% higher price, and participation of these regulated markets in eNAM again help them to fetch still better prices. Say, let us look at the success story of this GFPCL Modasa in Gujarat. So this Girimala Farmers Producer Company Limited, that is GFPCL, is formed to serve the small and marginal farmers in villages around Modasa, Gujarat. And currently the company is working in 26 villages with 980 farmers of Meghraj and Malpur blocks of Avali district. And company's primary objective is to income and employment of the member farmers through strengthening their present livelihood. Before eNAM, members of this GFPCL used to sell in the local market of Meghraj, Modasa and Bhilwara. When the members of FAO understood the benefits of this eNAM, GFPCL started selling through this eNAM. And after using this eNAM, they realized that their produce is fetching higher price compared to the local market. So GFPCL realized rupees 200 per quintal higher price for maize commodity at Modasa eNAM Mandi after deducting handling expense of around 55 rupees per quintal. And you can see that price difference of 200 rupees from 1780 to 2088 for the maize produce. Then coming to REMS, that is Rashtriya E-Market Services, 2014 is established as a joint venture of GOK, that is Government of Karnataka, and NCDH Spot Exchange Limited with equal shareholding. And it was conceived to blend that public interest with the initiative of private enterprise for the establishing, operating, managing a specified or specialized electronic trading platform called UMP, that is Unified Market Platform, for auctioning of the farmer produce. And the Department of Agriculture Marketing, IEMS, and markets work in close coordination to implement this reforms agenda of the states, that is REMS, that is Rashtriya E-Market Services. So to conclude something about this, what we call the eNAM, it would provide the farmers with more option of sale for their produce and increase the accessibility of the market to farmers through warehouse-based sale and alleviate the need to transport the what we call the produce to the mandis. And for local traders, eNAM would provide an opportunity to access the national market, file for the bulk, and the big traders would provide a great opportunity to directly participate in the local mandis and will reduce their intermediation cost. However, it will happen when eNAM become fully operational throughout the country, and the eventual goal of one nation, one market for agricultural produce will become a reality. Briefly, the recent initiatives certainly help in strengthening the rural economy and would generate more rural employment. And it would also help in increasing the productivity and in achieving goal of the food security and inclusive growth in the country. Besides, these reforms in agriculture markets will help India to meet the challenges posed by the global markets in the era of this globalization and the liberalization. So this is in brief about this. Let me project that eNAM. So if you go to this enam.gov.in web page, then you are going to get this home page. So here the number of options are here. You can see here what are the different commodities traded. If you click it here, the list of the commodities will come. So as I mentioned, there are 175. These are the details of the commodities under different categories like food grains, oil seeds, fruits, vegetables, spices, and the miscellaneous commodities. And the APMC online status, here you can click here how many APMCs that have been doing online trading. From Maharashtra, you can see here 118 APMCs and 46 mandis, they are participating in the online trading. And here with respect to this eNAM Mandi trading, and red indicates eNAM Mandi not trading in Kerala state, as well as this is Jammu Kashmir. Maybe I'm not sure. You can just later go through. Then price details you can get market wise. Say for example, only with respect to your state, say Maharashtra. Select any of the APMC here. Akola, Amravati, Amalpur, your nearby market, Rahuri, Ahmednagar, I think, or Rahuri is there. Rahuri, and select the commodity. These are the important commodities which have been online traded online. Say let us take onion rate, and you can view here the date range. So for this particular the dates, you are going to get the details. See here, Maharashtra, Rahuri, the different commodities, the minimum price, model price, maximum price from say yesterday, yesterday up to February 27. A week details are available. The date wise, the commodity traded and the price details are available. Like this, you can make use of this eNAM platform to study what the recent developments are taking place with respect to the agricultural commodities and success stories, as I mentioned. So there are many awards have been given for different what you call the mandis which have succeeded in benefiting. This was the thing that I projected for benefit, that is GFPCL, and also Nizamabad Mandi, certificate for effective implementation reforms in strengthening this eNAM. Like this, there are quite a number of good examples you can get here, and these are the persons, the different stakeholders who are going to be benefited by participating in this eNAM. And this department also made an aspirational district with respect to this what you call the eNAM. So the list is here. With respect to Maharashtra, let us go. So this list here, Gadchirli for Aheri, Nandurbar, then Osmanabad, Wasim districts, and these are the what you call the aspirational districts with respect to this implementation of the eNAM. So like this, if you go through this, log into this, not login, no necessity, browse the homepage of this Government of India's eNAM portal, and you are going to get the ample of information, and you can prepare well for the examination, those who are aspiring for this JRF and SRF examination. Okay, friends, just 2 to 3 minutes break I will take, and then we will move on to the last part that has been given to me, that is value chain and supply chain management, which is again gaining a lot of importance nowadays, because to improve the efficiency, what you call that creation of the needed infrastructure and improving the efficiency of each of the marketing functions, it speaks about that chain management, value chain management, and the supply chain management in the agricultural commodities assumes importance. We'll spend about 10-15 minutes about it. So if you are having any doubts and queries about these two aspects, that is forward trading, futures trading, and eNAM, you can just unmute and ask me the question, or else we'll go for this supply chain and value chain in agricultural commodities. Oh, I could see Basuraj Jamkandi is here in the meeting. Happy to see you, Dr. Basu.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, namaste. Okay. So, how you got this link to join for the meeting? It has been shared by them.
Sir, how are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm fine, Basu. Where are you now? In Bijapur only? You joined from Bijapur?
Hello, sir.
Hello. Bijapur then join agidra?
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Some disturbance is here. Okay, let it be. We'll talk later. Sir. Okay, we'll talk later. Okay, friends, are you having any doubts about these two? that is forward trading, futures trading, and risk in marketing, as well as this eNAM. Kindly unmute and open for the discussion. If I know, I will answer. Otherwise, as I should, I will communicate the answers for your queries later. Is there anybody?
Sir, namaste, sir. Something went wrong, sir.
Hello, hello. Oh,
Sir, namaste, sir. Vasu Chamkandi, sir.
ಹೌದೌದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Namaste.
Nice session, sir. Please go on, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, friends. Now we'll continue with the third assigned topic for today's session, that is supply chain and value chain in agriculture commodities. Friends, often people use these two synonymously, but there is a slight difference between these two concepts. So supply chain consisting of all parties involved directly or indirectly in fulfilling the customer need, isn't it? So here the traditional marketing, what we used to call them, the distribution channel or the marketing channel, isn't it? It is similar to that. So how well these companies are going to manage so that they can succeed in the efficient discharge of all the functions in the marketing process and bring produce to the consumer's place. So here the ultimate objective of any supply chain is to maximize the overall profit. So here the revenue generated from the customer minus the cost incurred by all the intermediaries along the entire chain. So that speaks about the profit from adopting a particular supply chain for the commodity. So the supply chain will effective when we manage product very well and good information and fund flow is achieved. Because there are three flows in the supply chain management. That is fund flow, commodity flow, and the information flow. So a supply chain is network of facilities and distribution options that performs the functions of procurement of the materials, transformation of these materials into intermediate and finished products, and the distribution of these finished products to the customers. So supply chain exists in both the service as well as the marketing organizations. Although the complexity of the chain varies greatly from one industry to another industry, but they need to always strive hard to develop that what you call that efficient supply chain for their produce and their commodity and the industry as a whole. So all organizations have these supply chains of varying degrees depending upon the size of the organization and the type of the product they are going to manufacture. So these networks obtain supplies and components and change these materials into finished products and distribute to the ultimate customers. So managing the chain of these events in this process is what is known as the supply chain management. So effective management, because here management is an universal subject, everybody aware, wherever you go, you find the importance of management, which is nothing but it is an art of getting things done through the efforts of others. So when it comes to this marketing, that too with that supply chain management concept, every component, each of these sub-components needs to be accomplished at the least possible cost at the the shortest period of time so that they can reach the ultimate customer. So effective management must take into account the effort or the activity of coordinating all the different pieces of this chain as quickly as possible without losing any of the quality or the customer satisfaction, while still keeping down the cost involved in performing different operations. There are 6 key elements in the supply chain. To start with the production. So here there are again strategic and the operational decisions relating to the production according to the market situations, but which is not possible in agriculture, but in industrial commodity you can go for that. So the strategic decisions regarding the production focus on what customers want and the market demands. Because as I mentioned to start with today's session, there is no dearth of technology or the information for the production, but we should produce what is in great demand in the market. So the strategic option regarding the production must also focus on what should be the capacity to install, what quality they need to manufacture, and what volume of the goods, and keeping in mind the requirement of the ultimate customers. Second one is the supply. After production, supply. So an organization must determine the facilities available to undertake all the production, or it may go for some kind of outsourcing of certain spare parts, etc., so that it could be able to produce economically and efficiently of high quality. The strategic decisions in terms of this second component of the supply chain, decisions should be made to determine the core capabilities of the facility, and the option of outsourcing the partnership should grow from these decisions. Then the third component of the supply chain is inventory. So here the critical issue concerned about the how much product should be in house. A delicate balance exists between too much inventory, because unnecessarily it demands or lot of capital is going to be blocked there, and which can cost anywhere between 20 to 30% of their total value, and not enough inventory to meet the market demands also unwanted or unfair on part of the company, because whenever sudden demand comes for any particular commodity, if the consumer go without the piece of that commodity, then the image of your company will be reduced in the mind of the consumer. So that maintaining optimum inventory is also most important part of this what you call this supply chain management. Then the location. So locational decisions depends upon the market demands and the customer satisfaction, which must focus on the placement of the production plants. Here we can undertake the production, and through what channel you can go for undertaking the distribution, and where you can stock that finished or the raw materials, and also placing them in prime locations to the market to be served, and also the different segments of the markets for your product. Then transportation. So here these decisions are closely related to the inventory decisions as well as the meeting customer demands. Suddenly from a particular locality for a particular kind of the product, the demand may arise, and how soon and well you can bring that produce depending upon the quantum of commodity that you had in your inventory. That is third component of this supply chain management. So it is wise to keep in mind that since 30% of the cost of the product is encompassed by transportation, use correct transport mode, because you know the different modes of transportation, road, rail, and air. Depending upon the nature of the commodity and the urgency, you can choose the best and the economical mode of transportation for the smooth distribution of the goods. Then the last one is ignorance has no excuse, isn't it? So information needs to be known and made available. So effective supply chain management requires obtaining information from the point of end use and linking the information resources throughout the chain for the speed of the exchange of the commodities in that particular what you call the commodity under consideration for which you are building the supply chain. So this, as I mentioned, consisting of supply chain management consists of three flows, that is product flow, movement of the goods from the supplier to the consumer, as well as any customer returns when they are not being satisfied with the commodity. There is every option online trading, you know, it can be what you call it, sent back to the supplier or the producer. And the information flow, that is, it may be order transmitting, updating the status of the delivery, etc. And also the finance flow, that is maybe sold on credit terms or the payment schedules or payment on receipt, like that, and the consignment and their ownership arrangements. So this is a general what you call the flow diagram with respect to the supply chain, which consisting of two parts, that is material management and the physical distribution management. The upper loop, wherein the production, after production, it can be get transported to the dealer, distributors, or what you call that supply to the procurement, consisting of procurement activities. Then it will be transported to that maybe the inventory where it can be stored, or maybe purchased by the other agents in the supply chain or the distribution channel. It consisting of maintaining that maybe also that raw materials, or I think this is hidden, maybe the inventory with respect to the raw materials and the finished products. Then material handling, sorry, it will not be not finished product. I will let you know later. Then after this, the material handling, the production scheduling, and the controlling of the production is going to take place in that production area. Then goods in process inventory, that once it is get manufactured, it will be in the process of movement or in the inventory. Then there will be packaging, finished product inventory, or order processing, etc., as per the requirement of the different size of the customers demand, they are going to pack. Then in the process of this moment, once it is being finished, that is speaks about under this physical distribution management, the material handling, then field inventory, then ultimately to the consumer through one or the other person in that distribution channel, maybe wholesaler, retailer, like that. And for your case of that Mahagrave supply chain, I could source it but forgotten to insert that source. So this is the supply chain for the Maha grapes. So to start with, this Maha grape is going to supply all the inputs needed for the producers. Then they are going to what you call these through this they are going to reach out the consumers in the European consumers or the Gulf consumers through the agents in the Gulf, and also for the local or the domestic distribution. So here the Sharad seedless or the Thompson seedless or the Sonata or the different varieties of these grapes are going to reach out to the ultimate consumers through these what you call the different agencies. So here the you can see the movement of the commodity with this arrow mark, how it is moving from initially the different inputs are being supplied to these Maha grapes, and here the different what you call the activities in the distribution channel are being indicated here, that is sorting and primary processing or packaging, then cooperative collection centers and agent for the supermarket. They can take it to supermarket, from supermarket it may reach out to there, or from this wholesale agents it can reach to supermarket. In between there will be some certification agencies head by these, so that to ensure that the quality of the produce. So this is how the supply chain management is assumed to be very, very important to ensure and benefit everyone in that distribution channel of the commodity under consideration. As I mentioned to start with, these two are varying to some different from each other. When we speak of the supply chain, it is product oriented, whereas when you speak of this value chain, it is consumer oriented or the demand chain. And here the product pushed into the market, whereas product is pulled into the market by the consumer. And products flows from the producer to the consumer, whereas values flows from consumer in the form of demand to the supplier. And here the integration of the producer or with the wholesaler or the retailer is going to take place, whereas here the integration of the product and the end user, that is consumer. And here the upstream of integration of the supplier and the producer process is going to take place, whereas in value chain the downstream, the creation of the value based upon the consumer preference under this value chain. And these are the few what you call the points which can what you call the deepen your knowledge about this value chain. For the first time, this concept of value chain from this business management was described and popularized by Michael Porter during 1985 for designing the method of creating the greatest possible value to the produce. Generally, this value chain consisting of range of activities that brings a product or a service from its conception, initial stage, to its end use in a particular industry. And it includes the sequence of target-oriented combinations of the production factors that create a marketable produce or service from its conception to the final consumption. And it results in value addition to the preliminary products through combination of other resources like tools, manpower, knowledge, skills, and other raw materials are the preliminary produce. Hence, as the product passes through the several stages of the value chain, the value of the product is going to increase. Coming to the agriculture value chain, here the agriculture products and its derivatives products typically pass through the hands of the number of players or the agents, which is necessity than mere formality due to their characters, because producer himself cannot perform all the activities. Hence, here the value is added to the agricultural product in performing these different market operations through sorting, transportation, processing, and such other activities. And the strength of this value chain depends on the degree of the trust and the relationship that exist among the different participants. So, in situations where sharing of the market information is poor, coupled with other imperfections in the markets for them, players behave in a way that undermine the activities of the other persons. And this value chain is highly underdeveloped and largely inefficient with respect to what you call the farm sector in India. And here the input suppliers, producers, processor, wholesaler, retailers are the major stakeholders in between the producer and the ultimate consumer. And costs are incurred at each stage for cleaning, packing, transportation to perform such other functions. And this tends to bulge the marketing cost, in turn, what you call, rise the consumer price and lower the producer share in consumer rupee, especially when the value chain is overextended with more number of nodes and players. Coming to the roles being played by the played by the different stakeholders in building that value chain. To start with the role of the corporate. So here they need to decide the model for connecting the value chain players, what model they can adopt for a particular commodity. And they need to identify the partners and build their confidence. Then only they can work for a long term association. And effective consumer reach should be there, because in modern days, consumers are considered as the kings. Once they get rejected your product, there is no second chance for you, isn't it? So these entrepreneurs and what you call the producers, they are called as the bonded slaves of these customers or the clients, isn't it? Whether they are in domestic market or in overseas market. And especially when it comes to that overseas market, people, they are thinking in terms of ppb, not in ppm, parts per billion, not parts per million. That means they are becoming so much health conscious, and even a minute traces of the any unpermitted or what you call the health hazardous chemicals are found, entire lot may be get rejected, isn't it? That is why here the role being played by the corporate in terms of what you call the effective consumer reach is important, and also provide effective linkages by way of creating infrastructure and R&D support and extension activities, e-job or e-marketing, etc. Then role for the financial institutions or the bankers, because everybody or most of the people, they may not be having enough for the sufficient funds to their expected level. Because of this changing dynamic economic situations, we cannot have that fixed budget for a start of the any kind of the business because of the inflation and the changing things that are taking place in the economy. So hence ensure the credit flow to all the partners of this value chain, and assist primary producers in the corporate towards the value chain development, so that once it get established, then gradually everybody will be having their own role to play and own reason to enjoy the profit and the benefit from the well established and developed value chain. And coming to the role of the farmers here, the farmer groups are the organization, APOs or the association for the economies of scale, because the most important characteristic feature of the Indian farmers, they are millions of small and margin farmers. If you look at the average size of the land holding, because of the subdivision and the fragmentation and increase in the population day by day, the size of the land holding is decreasing. Hence, we cannot think of adopting and realize the benefits from this new technology on the small farms. Hence, the group approach is always best, isn't it? Unity would be the strength. So move up the value chain from the production to the agribusiness, because nowadays even a farmer with 0.5 acre of land is not growing food grains and practicing the subsistence nature of farming. He is targeting the international market. He can undertake with the available technology any exportable commodity, fruits, vegetables. Then he can realize the greater returns, and what you call pick is requirement from the market, maybe the food grains or the vegetables. So that is what here we need to move up the value chain from the production to the agribusiness. Then role for the government here, it should play as a facilitator rather than a regulator. Then only, because too much regulation sometimes may not yield the expected results. So it should facilitate, it should favor hassle-free intervention, or what to call that, the hand-holding will definitely help in succeeding any kind of the activity. And policies for the public-private partnership, anyhow, it is coming up in a big way, PQ mode. Then infrastructure development wherever, whenever, and in the form of the needed infrastructure, government should always pay attention and allocate the needed funds and import the technologies and provide all kinds of the supports to build the needed infrastructure. And also policy for the risk mitigation, like extending the marketing finance, popularizing the insurance, and using, just now discussed that warehouse receipt and the export promotions will do a great things of support for what you call building a strong value chain for the farm commodities. Then how the farmers can reap the benefits from this value chain. So here, as we already know and can expect very well, this value chain facilitates the understanding of the competitive challenges and all the different stakeholders who are participating and part and parcel of that value chain. So they can read well them by experience, and they can act accordingly. And it is going to help in identification of the relationship and the coordination mechanisms that exist, so that more than one mere production role, he can assume the additional succeeding roles in that value chain of the commodity, and it is going to facilitate in understanding the importance of each player in the chain, who governs and influence accordingly. They can behave and make the decisions to get best from this value chain, and vast scope for new information on products, process, and market opportunities. And farmer positioning as a partner of this value chain help to reap the benefits through adoption of the new technology, because they need to start with that a particular variety, particular the timings and the stage of the harvesting, so that kind of more of that contract pre-agreed practices of the farming could help these farmers by way of participating as a what you call the part of this value chain. Then these are the things we have sufficiently only made an attempt to list them again. Improves marketing efficiency, because we always speak in terms of how much we realized by spending how much in performing each of these marketing activities. So improving the marketing efficiency is the maybe the objective, and also the importance that may result from the value chain analysis. And it is going to improve the product quality, because nowadays people won't mind to give higher price for the better quality products, so they are always at quality of the produce. So in the process, farmers will also just practicing that Mogam method of sale, what we learned during our undergraduation, mixing of variety of the lower, the higher, the medium quality products in a single lot, and fetching what you call the average price for all the quality. Instead of that, if they resort for that grading and could brand them and sell the better quality for the higher price. And specializing in new functions and activities is possible, and may result from this value chain, because time and again doing the same kind of business will help us to become specialized in those activities, and finding new markets, because once that news will keep on spreading. Initially they may be started with that Gulf country. Later, if any visitor to that country might have seen, oh, it is sourced from India, and such is the company involved in what you call the manufacturing or supplying these products, then he may also, when he go back to his country like that, here what would happen with this what you call the strong supply chain for any agriculture commodity would help to find the new markets for our products, when we maintain TQM, that is total quality management, through all the stages of the supply chain or the value chain, and developing new products or the services for a unique market. Because we cannot have the same marketing strategy for all the entire market, whole market. You have to accordingly subdivide into different segments based on numerous criteria. So we can have an approach what you call the different marketing strategy, or the tool like that of a marketing mix, what you call those 5 P's of marketing mix: product, place, price, promotion, and people mix, so that we can approach each of these segments, and gradually we can think of increasing the market share, and even with a small profit margin, with more market coverage, we can enjoy a greater profit in the long run. So it is going to help not only find the new markets, and also new products and services for a unique market manufacturing as per the requirement of the consumers. So this is value chain schematic representation. So through research and development and the assistance of the suppliers and the support from the finance, you can purchase the inputs as a farmer, process, manufacture, and through the retailers and exporters, ultimately reaching the consumers. So this is flow of the goods, products, and information, or flow of orders, consumers' preference, and the information downstream from the consumers to the farmers. So here the flow of goods, or what do we see usually in the first course of economics, there is a circular flow of income and the goods and services between the firms and the the consumers, isn't it? Like that here, same thing we can visualize here, but without the restriction, either the domestic or the international market in this value chain. It is another value diagram representing the value chain creation in the marketing situation. How the movement of the goods on one end in a reverse order, the feedback reverse order, the fund in the opposite direction. So taking an example of that maize crop, according to Murthy 2016, value chain analysis of maize in Mahabub Nagar district of Telangana state. So here production input supply like seed, fertilizer, pesticide, labor, chemicals. So he undertake the maize cultivation and realize the produce maize production. Financial services, from the traders, commission agents also would maybe there, then selling and winnowing, that marketing of the main product after drying and selling to the which enters the market, and it may be stored in the market godowns if necessary until the prospective demand from the prospective purchaser or even the processor. Then cleaning and storing, value addition in different forms, maize processing, and the distribution network again after value addition into different products like it may reach the ultimate consumer through poultry feed or the livestock feed or starch extraction, etc., etc. So here these are the different value-added products of the maize. You can see here maize starch, corn flake, liquid glucose, dextrose monohydrate or anhydrous dextrose, sorbitol, corn gluten. Like this, you can find the what you call the numerous value-added products which are having the wider usage from the value. So this is how we can build the value chain for the different farm commodities. It is again another source from Akhtar and Hafiz 2015, marketing of maize products in Bangladesh, a value chain analysis. You can see here maize oil from extracted for the different industrial product manufacturing like soap, salt, paint, etc. And also cooking oil and the margarine and the biodiesel, and also which has been from that wet milling of the maize through germ, and from wet milling they may extract gluten, husk, starch for this animal feed or for the starch paste for foodstuffs, industrial product or the salad cream. And for the from the dry milling maize meal, samp or the maize grits or the maize rice or the unsifted or the sifted coarse, super and the special maize grits can be manufactured and be sold in the market. So this is by taking an example of the maize commodity, how the value chain for the maize can be studied. So these are the activities of the function being performed by the different stakeholders or the agencies in the sub value chain management, starting with producer, village traders, wholesaler, processor, retailer, and consumer. And the functions, you already know them. And some of the problems the author is made to list out so that if they could be able to minimize these problems, then we can expect further more efficiency from the what we call the strong value chain for any given commodity. So thus here different tools can be used to identify the agriculture value chains, like mapping the value chain or the degree of value addition and the percent of the value addition. Here in the process of mapping, you can look at each stage of the product movement, which in turn used for the determination of the economic wealth created. At the end, customer willingness to pay decides the extent of the value added. So the same concept is extended to the agriculture value chain analysis by identifying all the players in the agriculture marketing. And the value chain in agriculture produce from producer to consumer can be mapped by including all the players in the value chain like traders, processor, retailer, using the generic worksheet crossing function with the participants that we have marked with that arrow mark among the different participating agents in the value chain. Then the degree and the percent of value addition, the second tool. Here the degree of the value addition can be calculated as a ratio between the margin and the purchase price expressed as a percentage. So here the value addition by the farmers in the agriculture production is computed by considering the variable cost of production and the price of the commodity realized. So after accounting for returns for his management as did and expected in any business organization. So the percentage value addition is obtained by deducting the cost of performing activities at each stage, starting from the production to the retailing of the produce to the ultimate consumer. And the third component is that is challenging in building that value chain is the development and the upscaling of the value chain models that is inclusive of the small farmers. How we can bring them, because those are the categories of farmers who are facing a lot of difficulties in the process of marketing, and they are denied of their due share in the consumer rupee because of their small marketable surplus, and also literally what you call the not too much participating in the this well-established regulated market process. They are selling in the village itself. And also the second challenge is with respect to the structure of value chain. Who are the key partners in the value chain and who will does what role or the lead activity, and the multiplicity of the intermediaries can be avoided. So how to compress the chain as the APMC Act comes in the way, and how to sustain the long-term business relation is also most important, and how various risks can be assessed and shared among the different stakeholders, and how to prepare the farmers to retain that retail-driven standards, so that they should start particularly paying attention to the kind and the quality of the produce what the ultimate consumers, in spite of the the services being rendered by other stakeholders in the supply chain. And will government facilitate the agribusiness environment by amending and land and the market laws? So it has been already started. So in Karnataka, it has been already that Land Reforms Act has been amendment has been implemented, and also it has been in the process in many states, so that the relaxing, but not with an intention of the deceiving the farmers, but with some riders. If appropriate amendments have been done, the benefits of economies of scale can be realized, which through again building a good value chain. Then how to practice the new approach for this value chain? So there are 5 principal ways that can be helped to have the better approach for this value chain: improving its efficiency, improving the product quality, that is very much needed, and specializing in new functions or the activities, and also finding the new markets. So good agriculture practices in agriculture will definitely bring the radical changes that are being expected in building a valuable, strong, well acceptable value chain or the supply chain in the farm commodities. So this is what I wanted to communicate during these almost 2 hours, almost 10 minutes short of 2 hours. So thank you for your patient hearing, and I'm happy to take questions. If I'm knowing them, I will answer on spot. Otherwise, I will definitely communicate to you people, because I am having here your names and other details, and I can also get it from your coordinator, maybe Praveen or Sapalji or even Hille sir. I know them personally. For any queries, I'm very much happy to interact and clarify. So kindly unmute if you are having anything to discuss. We will discuss. Yes, please.
I think no one has any queries, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for patient hearing and the opportunity. If they want, I can share these slides to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you then.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Shall I leave the meeting?
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, sir, it's a very nice session, sir, and definitely, sir, it will help to our participant for their respective examination.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. All the best. And I'm going to share these slides with your coordinator and teachers. And if you want them, you can take
definitely, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And I would like to thank all the participants also. Thank you so much for them also, their patience and active participation.
Okay.
Thank you so much again. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Same to you. Have a nice day.